I'm assuming, like, if you can see traffic,
yes,
like,
yes.
you can't be on the plane and only see Saimo, as in...
No, the thing is, no, from a pilot perspective,
yes,
we don't like seeing other planes.
Hey, Maze. Asante sana for joining us for another classic episode of the Weekend Edition. I'm your host, Dr. Kingori. So much has happened that this week feels like 2 months, Maze.
I'm Sokoto of Bangi that was going at 100 shillings, now is going at 400. We are making progress.
While congratulating police bosses in the Mount Kenya region for the war on illegal drugs, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has said that he is happy that bank prices have gone up from 100 to 400 shillings a roll.
It's becoming unaffordable. And that is the right thing. Because the police are so heavy on Bangi. So wale wenye kuuza, the risk is so high, wanaongeza pesa.
It's an interesting way to measure progress in the war against illegal drugs. Watu wanasema ikiendelea hivyo bei ya bangi itafikia bei ya unga. Hey, and Kakamega has also been on the spot this week after reports that the county will be spending almost 900,000 shillings to transport contaminated maize from Mukumu Girls to Mombasa to be destroyed professionally. I do not appreciate the vocabulary that was used here. Transporting maize from Kakamega to Mombasa to be destroyed professionally. Now, najua kuna mtu mahali, najua kuna mahali watu, anajua hata hii mnajua, kama kuna mahali watu who destroy chakula. Ni Kakamega. And I think that's why hey, man, I think that's why they had to add professionally. Some people are asking, na hii uchumi, why does the county government need to spend almost 1 million shillings to transport maize to be destroyed in Mombasa, a task that can be carried out in Kakamega by 8 people for free? Those are people who do not understand the magnitude and the delicate nature of that initiative. We have a great show lined up for you. In fact, I dare say this has to be one of the most interesting conversations we have ever brought you on this show. 2 of our guests have been air traffic controllers, one of the most high-pressure jobs in the world. In simple terms, these are the people tasked with the responsibility of giving instructions to pilots so that they can fly safely, efficiently, and quickly. So basically, ni wale wase uingiza mandege kwa mashimo, like ni kama wase wa mat. You understand? So we have Beatrice, Atieno, and Elijah Nyakoyo Obongo in the house. Asante. Thank you. Asante sana. Our other guest is a self-made businessman. Most Kenyans may recognize him in the car sales market, but on the side, he is a trained pilot who has just gotten his private flying license and now working on a commercial one. Khalif Kairo is in the house. Asante. We'll be talking to them in a bit, but first, we have now gathered enough evidence that being successful can be as simple as looking the part. Joshua Kiprop made a clean 100,000 shillings just for looking like Kiharu MP Nyoro. I know some people have criticized Mheshimiwa for giving out the money. Oh, mbona anampatia pesa? Why is he giving him the money? What has the guy done? You people don't understand. With how hard Mheshimiwa has worked to be where he is, he could not afford kujiona akiwa amesota. Yes. Maze, Ndindi Nyoro aliangalia mse akasema, let me boost my image with 100,000. Now, this is not the first time someone has been rewarded for looking like a politician. Mnakumbuka unye? Exactly. Well, this gentleman was so determined to meet President Uhuru Kenyatta Juana Fanana that I saw a video of him refusing to look like his real brother.
Do you have a brother?
Yes.
You look like him?
No.
And that's not all. We could go on and on. Hata Wajakoya alikuwa na lookalike before the elections, but immediately after kulienda vile alienda, lookalike aliyav kutafuta job ya kufanana na Rick Ross. At this rate, I know you're already wondering why we have not seen a lookalike wa Atwoli. It's 2 reasons. 1, hakuna mtu akona picha ya Atwoli akiwa mdogo, and 2, looking like Atwoli is DJ Shitty's retirement plan. And I believe it's accurate to say that there's a business of looking like other people. In simple terms, to be successful, you must start looking successful. In fact, word is that from looking like President Uhuru, Michael Gitonga was offered a car, land, he made some money as a fake Uhuru. looking like Uhuru is so valuable, you can now guess how much the real Uhuru has made just for being himself. And guys, please, and this is advice and an appeal, find out if there is money in how you look like. And think about it. How do you look at someone like Kiprop in the eye and tell them, if you want to make it in life, you need to be yourself? When he has just made 100K being someone else. Now, and this business of looking like someone else seems to be booming, that in the finance bill of 2023, the government has decided to cash in by introducing new taxes targeting looks.
The Treasury is yet again targeting Kenya's 20 billion shillings beauty products and cosmetics industry with a proposal to slap excise duty at 5% on weaves, artificial nails, artificial beards and human hair.
I was this week old when I learned that there are fake beards. Imagine. And now people will have to be taxed for that. Imagine kujipata umechelewa kulipa rent juu umelipia ndevu. Buda. Mazi ukunywangi pombe, pesa yako unapelekanga wapi? Now, basically, KRA has decided to do to men what Elon Musk did to Twitter users. Men will now have to pay extra for verification. Hakuna ndevu za bure. We buda mazi, kwani ulinyoa ndevu? Mazi. Wachana na KRA. Kwanza kuna bill fulani wamepitisha mazi. Imefanya hata Shafi amekuwa msupa. Mazi. Taxing hair products. I wonder where the government is getting these ideas from.
Yeah.
How much did this hair cost?
Okay, this one went for, 185,000.
Hang on, you need to say this again.
Yeah.
How much did your hair cost?
185,000 Kenya shillings.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's, I want to do a guesstimate real quick here. That's about $2,500, something like that.
Yeah, approximately.
You have had hair that cost 500,000 Kenya shillings?
450,000 Kenya shillings. Yes.
A weave that cost 450,000 Kenya shillings?
Yes, it was custom made for me.
I see. I get the creativity. Imagine now imagine how much the government can make from Pretty Vichy alone. Yes, I believe most of you guys have seen. Yes, that was before a few billions were set aside. Now, that's the before photos. Now, here's an interesting twist to the lookalike story. Word is that Kiprop has been complaining after Ndindi Nyoro gave him 100K for looking like him. He says the money was not enough, as he was hoping to get 500K. Now, people are bashing him, accusing him of being ungrateful and entitled. You guys are wrong. And I think Honorable Ndindi Nyoro actually committed an offense by giving Kiprop less money than he deserves. Hear me out. To give an impression of how hard it is to look like Ndindi Nyoro, imagine only one person has managed in the whole country so far. We una complain at si ufanane na Ndindi Nyoro ukule hiyo 100K basi. And here's the crime committed by Mheshimiwa. Now that we have justified why the guy deserves 500K, let's go back to the finance bill of 2023 and see why Mheshimiwa has committed a crime.
Among the proposals, the Treasury wants every Kenyan who earns 500,000 shillings and above to be taxed at 35%, as opposed to the current ceiling rate of 30%. This is in line with the promise by President William Ruto to ensure that those who earn more remit more to the taxman.
Mheshimiwa giving Kiprop less than 500,000 is tax evasion. Na mtu asijaribu kusema it's not what it looks like. Exactly. So now to our audience members, what's your take on the new introduced taxes, especially kwa hizo stories kutax beauty products na fake nails?
I do know that we live in a generation whereby people do care about their looks. So alafu unapata pia vitu zimekuwa expensive, especially like you guys have heard about Vera. Human hair is really expensive. I mean, the industry, I know.
Yes.
So hata tunajua with this tax it's going to be actually tough. But either way, with the inflation rates at this point, I think haijakuja as a surprise.
It was expected.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. But bado mtaendelea kuweka hizo makucha na bado mtavaa hizo human.
Tutajaribu kufika bei, so.
A beautiful way ya kuambia government in your face. Yeah? But at least sasa terms zenu zitachange. Yo, maze unakaa poa, ni God, ni God. Sasa ukitokea vile unakaa, ukitokea ukiwa in your natural looks, mtu akuza, maze nini mbaya? Siku hizi upaki makeup, ni KRA. Vile unakaa, asanteni sana, wapi makofi yao? Thank you very much. Niliwambia we have a very interesting conversation for you. Please join us on the other end of this commercial break where Khalif, Kairo, Beatrice, Atieno and Nyakoyo are joining us for a very interesting conversation that includes guiding airplanes in the air safely. See you in a bit. Asante sana, welcome back to the weekend edition. I'm your host Dr. Kingori. Vile niwaambia show ya leo, mimi first of all I can't wait to get into it. We have a panel which I believe, and I stand corrected, is a team that is responsible ya ndege kupanda juu na kuteremka chini. One of our guests, Khalif Kairo, mnamjua na mambo ya magari, kuuza madinga and stuff. Na mimi nilikuwa nafikiria najua mambo ya Audi peke yake. Leo nimegundua, ama lately nimegundua najua mpaka mambo ya Boeing. Sijui hata Boeing inamaanisha nini, but he's a pilot. Amepata private license yake juzi, and he's now looking for a commercial license. Our other guest is a veteran in the aviation industry. Amewakuko kwa miaka mob sana. We'll get to know more about him, plus a secret I'll leak to you before tumalize show. Na anajua kupiga story poa sana, so I trust you will enjoy a conversation with him. Also, a beautiful story, ladies in the aviation industry. Amefanya air traffic control. Beatrice Atieno is in the house. Thank you very much. Beatrice, I'll start with you. Kwa air traffic control, you guys are responsible kwa kusema kama ndege itaenda ama itaenda. Ukisema hautoki hapa, hautoki, right?
Yes or no?
Yes or no?
Yes.
But you have the power.
I'll say we have guiding principles.
Yes.
So by the time I tell you you're not going, I have to have a very valid reason for operational purposes. And by the time I'm telling the pilot you are not able to go, on the other end, pia yeye mwenyewe ataelewa ni kwa nini. Because we have a mutual understanding, and hata yeye mwenyewe anajua our operating standards that we have. So for me to tell the pilot that you are not able to go, I must have a reason which is valid and which is operationally acceptable.
So in the history of air traffic control, hakuna mtu anaweza simamisha ndege for personal reasons, because I assume mali niko, from what I look at as the idea of a tower where you guys operate, mnakuanga kwa kioo kikubwa, mnaona mandege zote. You can't just stop the plane to admire it.
You'll admire it before akuite. Actually, generally, the area, air traffic control, basically, it's a very sensitive area. That's number one. And number two, my joy as an air traffic controller ni kuona ndege imetoka on time, the passengers when you're on board wamefika destination on time. Because at the end of the day we have people who are connecting to other flights, and then the service delivery, you want to be the best, right? So I will not just sit there and say, now this one will not go because I want to admire.
To teach a rude pilot a lesson.
No, that now requires, for you to be a good controller, you have to have emotional intelligence. So you cannot just decide, because it's not about the pilot.
Yes.
You have, we have so many stakeholders in that one airplane. We have customers. We have people who have put their cargoes in there. So in the process of punish the pilot, you are not only punishing the pilot, you're punishing the owner of that aircraft. You're punishing the workers when you are hapo, because even this lot, maybe mali amepark, kuna ndege inafaa kukuja ipark. You see? So ukimdelay hapo, kuna yenye inafaa kulandi kuja hapo, yeye anafaa kuwa ametoka ameenda. So there are so many factors to consider, and we have procedures that guide our operations, which are they're in black and white. So if I decide that you're not going, ataenda complain. Why was I delayed? You see? Akienda delay, investigation will be done. And if it was not justified, then I'll have to own up and face the consequences.
At any given time, when planes are in the air, you have an account of how many planes are actually zinapita.
Absolutely. Dr. Kingora may tell you that each single movement of a plane is accounted for.
Each single movement? Each
single movement. In fact, it is accounted for on a second-minute basis. There is no single time that in the airspace you'll be having a plane and you don't know its whereabouts. Why? Because the air traffic controller is facilitated with radar equipment.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
and even
you.
Without radar equipment, there is a close coordination in terms of managing the flight before before entering the airspace. 10 minutes. In fact, it is 10 minutes before entering into your airspace. That is Kenya airspace.
Yes.
You shall have gotten information. In fact, the pilot shall have made contact with the area control unit.
In my simplistic mind,
Yes.
airspace means the map of Kenya vile tunaichora going to heaven. That is Kenyan airspace. Is that true? Because I hope that's true.
That is true or not. Why? From a layman point of view,
Yes.
that may be true. Yeah?
Yes.
Now, from the technical point of view, the airspace are subdivided.
Okay.
The airspace are subdivided. And the subdivision gets into even now designing the air routes, what we call normally the air routes,
Yes.
barabara za ndege. Yeah?
Yes.
And therefore, for a technical person in aviation, it is defined differently. That is, there are sectors like for Nairobi, it will have its airspace.
Or there is an airspace
Defined.
for Nairobi. Yes, yes,
Defined.
Yes. Okay.
For Mombasa, there is an airspace defined.
And I think that's where you guys are selfish, because
Yes.
if that's how it works, if I own a 50 by 100, then going up, that means that's my air. Tukienda hivi, right? So you guys automatically just own mnagawana huko juu hatuwezi fika, si ndio? That's what happened. Kairo,
Yes.
Is it possible, because I know you've logged in some hours
Yes.
kwa kufly ndege.
Yeah.
Ukiwa huko juu umaipitana na ndege ingine?
No, actually, you'll see traffic. The only thing you have to adhere to is something called, we call it separation. There are those standard separation procedures. Vertically, it's normally 1,000 feet, if I'm not wrong. No. Horizontally,
It differs.
it differs.
Yeah.
It differs with the sort of airspace you're in.
Yes.
It also differs with the sort of type of plane you're flying, and also how busy the airport is.
And the type of flight you're conducting.
Yes.
Because there are, if I cut you short, there are flights zenye unaendesha ni kama unaendesha gari lakini uko kwa hewa. Whereby lazima uone unaenda wapi.
Yeah.
Lazima uangalie chini.
Ndege pia iko na probox yake.
Iko na lazima uone kama maybe unaenda Mombasa na unataka kuendesha kama gari, unafuata hiyo SGR. Unafuata hiyo SGR, unasema mpaka mali SGR, unasema basi tumefika Mombasa.
Okay.
Na kuna ingine yenye tunatumia instrument solely, yenye ni uko tu kwa cockpit natumia hizo instrument.
There are some very small planes, four-seater, that have advanced equipment. They have
But they're just bicycles.
No, yeah, it's ukiangalia ni ndege ndogo, inaweza beba watu 4 pekee, but it has the most advanced equipment. Iko na weather radar, iko na autopilot, iko na very good systems.
Yes.
Na kuna zingine sasa kama hizi zetu za training, but it's a bare minimum aircraft. It's meant to make you hardcore. It teaches you the basics of flying. Hapo tunazitanga Vasco da Gama ama Marco Polo.
Now it's not like I'm assuming, like if you can see traffic,
yes,
like
yes.
you can't be on the plane and see Saimo as in
now the thing is now from a pilot perspective,
yes.
We don't like seeing other planes.
Why?
Because you're just trying to avoid the risk of collision. In fact, you try and avoid the other person as much as you can.
Yes.
So in fact, the controller at times will call you and tell you, especially I fly a lot around Wilson, they'll call you, they'll tell you, look out for a caravan coming from the west. A caravan is a type of an aircraft. Look out for the caravan coming from the west. And then now you panic. Mtu ako wapi? Where is it? Kwa sababu things happen very fast with planes. One moment unaweza kosa kumuona, the next moment you ama mmekaribiana. So you always try to use, it's a technique called see and avoid. And when you fly in a flight school, they teach you that a lot. Always try to look out. Don't spend too much time staring at your instruments. Try to look out. Because at times kuna mtu maybe anafanya maneuvers, especially students, mko wengi kwa circuit. It's called the circuit, the traffic circuit around an airport. Okay. Like Wilson, guys are taking off, coming for an approach, not even landing and then taking off again. It's called a touch and go maneuver. So zikifanywa, at times you could be like 3 schools. There's the first plane, there's another plane, there's a third plane. So you have to, it teaches you how to avoid other traffic. So that even when you get to the advanced levels, you at least have that feel. It's called like situational awareness. You know where I'm flying, who's around me. So watu ukisikia mtu akipewa instructions kwa radio, ameambiwa kuje position yenye huko, you can even object useme by the way we also in the same area, we'll try and look out for each other.
What you've just described in layman's language is what we call overlapping, like
at times I'll actually explain something. Like the airspace around Nairobi. Nairobi has 3 areas. There's an area controlled by Isli, there's another area controlled by Wilson Tower, and there's another area controlled by the guys at Jomo. Those are 3 different types of airspace. Tuko pamoja up to that point.
Yes.
So the area around Wilson is the busiest actually. It's more busier than Jomo in terms of traffic movements and ndege. So ukiwa hapo, you need to be very keen kwa sababu there are so many planes taking off and landing. And at times you see even the controllers are human. So you also have to look out for whatever is happening around you, and you have to listen out to your radios. And then ukitoka hii airspace ya Nairobi, let's say we are flying to the Mara. Mara hakuna tower. There's no tower in Mara. So you are on an open traffic frequency. So you have to listen out to that frequency so that if there's another aircraft in the area, mpangane. Let me just put it in that simple terms.
So hakuna luxury ati tuko kwa ndege sasa tupige story kidogo.
No. Lazima. Lazima ukwe rada, especially for what we call bush flying. Like you're flying to those small airports that don't have air traffic control. Kama hizi airstrips za Mara, umeenda Magadi, you've gone to a place like Masinga. It's actually an airport but hakunanga air traffic control. So what you have to do, you have to listen out to what we call a traffic frequency, which is basically a frequency where there are other pilots flying. So you'll just hear all sorts of chatter. Mtu mwingine ako Garissa, mtu mwingine anasema anaingia Malindi, mtu mwingine anasema sijui ako wapi. Then ukisikia wewe kama uko Mara usikie kuna ndege nyingine Mara, now you listen out. And then now you say, look, we are approaching the Mara, we'll be descending in the next 5 minutes. We are flying, let's say, to Kichwa Tembo. If you any traffic within Kichwa Tembo, advise for any conflict in traffic, please advise. Na kama kuna mtu ako Kichwa Tembo atakwambia we are actually at Kichwa Tembo, we are also making the approach. So hapo sasa mnaanza sasa kutafutana.
And the name of the location has to be very specific.
Yes,
Hawezi kuwa na mtu ati like you go fancy like unaingia Mara but you don't want to say Mara, you say Matumbo.
Hapana. No, it has to be very precise.
Yes.
Lazima useme if you are making an approach into Kichwa Tembo, you need to say this first say which aircraft it is. So you call out traffic from 5 Yankee Charlie Quebec. That's the registration of the aircraft. We are currently descending through 7,000 feet. We intend to make a landing at Kichwa Tembo. Any conflict in traffic, please advise.
Okay.
Now that's flying in an uncontrolled airspace.
Okay.
But now if you're coming to Jomo, now before again I enter the airspace, I need to call into the right frequency.
You say that if I buy my chopper with my own money, siwezi enda nigongeshe niingie mtaa kidogo. I can't do that.
Lazima upangwe.
Munipange mimi.
Yes, lazima upangwe. Actually, before hata uende kwa hiyo chopa yako, before you nunue, lazima we mwenyewe tuone unaweza nini, you can fly that particular helicopter or whatever you have.
I've bought it. Yes, it's in my home. Yes, I've trained like Kairo. I can ride it. There is no room for stealing time like umeboeka. And as you tell us why helicopters can't fly past 6 p.m. As in, is there no room for nimeboeka tu nataka kuingia hewani. As in,
unaweza ingia but lazima utujulishe venye tu amesema. You have to make prior arrangements ndio tujue utakuwa.
Okay.
Tukuseparate na ndege zingine. Because unajua si wewe peke yako utafly kwa hiyo stare yako. Kuna wengine wanafly, so we have to accommodate everybody.
In other words, the airspace is not yours.
The ndege ni yours, but
ndege ni yako lakini airspace sio yako.
Hata kama nitainuka tu juu ya nyumba kidogo like
hiyo ni airspace yetu.
So where does your airspace start? At my roof?
It is determined.
Yes.
And why am I telling you the airspace is not yours? Anything above ground, anything above ground near the airport, it is controlled. You can have your plot and you want to build, you have money, but it will be controlled by Kenya Civil Aviation Authority through regulations. And therefore, it is not anything you want to do in the airspace.
How near the airport?
It is defined.
Okay.
Actually, near the airport, it is 13 kilometers radius.
Yes.
There we control.
as we close, Kairo is one of the top importers wa magari in this country. He was for the longest time a brand ambassador wa Audi. He used to sell Audis. Check him out, Kai and Kairo on social media. Ukitaka gari, he is your plug, but leo amekuja kwa show specifically for aviation. An interesting fact about Elijah. No, Elijah ni ya Bible. Elijah. Eh, manze. Interesting fact. Sikuambia tukianza show. He's the one gentleman who I believe makes me feel guilty of making fun of landlords on this show, because he was my first landlord at Independence, at my Independence. Nikienda kutafuta how we've had a very good relationship, and he has played a father figure to me for the longest time, and it's an interesting thing kuongelea landi wako hivyo. Wapi makofi yake? Thank you. And thank you for siku moja ndawapigia story vile tulikuwa tuna negotiate na yeye. Na ndawapigia story kama yuko hapa. Beatrice, leo utani forgive because we also had another conversation tulikuwa tunafaa kwanza ya women in aviation, and I believe this conversation is so interesting we can set it up again. Inaweza ama iwezi? Yes. Wapi makofi yao? That's it for the weekend edition. See you next week. My name is Dr. Kingori.